Hey there, folks. Before we start the show, I just want to remind you all that this Saturday, August 5th, John and I will be at Grossfest at the Comfort Inn Conference Center, Pittsburgh East. Grossfest is a one-day celebration of all things indie horror. There will be vendors, film screens, celebrities, and indie filmmakers galore. Come hang out with us. We'll have candy and stickers at our table. Again, come out to Grossfest this Saturday, August 5th at the Comfort Inn Conference Center, Pittsburgh East. Check the link in the description of this episode to learn more about Grossfest, or head over to grossfest.com for more details. And we'll see you there on August 5th.
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh, my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Carrington, joined by my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
Barbie made me feel bad about my penis. I'm sitting here in my truck telling you, don't watch that man-hating Barbie should be banned.
I mean, isn't that like what the main plot of the movie is? Barbie should be men. Oh man. I've been looking forward to this. First of all, we're in episode 277, and we took a little bit of a break. We had a little bit of a week break between this. And of course, John, I love the fact that we took a week break, like during probably what I would argue the biggest cinematic viewing event of the year, I would say. Wouldn't you call it that? The Barbenheimer phenomena?
Yeah. Well, people are saying that like Barbie is easily on track to surpass like Super Mario Brothers as like the highest grossing movie of the year. I don't know if it'll be that, you know, at the come January 1st, but it's on its way to, at least right now, being the biggest movie of the year. Who saw that coming?
No one did. I mean, I sure as hell didn't. I mean, I knew that this was going to be a big movie, but I mean, in its first weekend, I think it already like destroyed the Batman.
That wasn't hard.
Opening. I mean, it wasn't hard, but like, you know, that was a movie that came out to a lot of critical acclaim and, you know, that sort of thing. But this one, man, this was something. And then you couple it with the Oppenheimer stuff, which, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about that next week. And you just get this crazy cinematic event. I've seen some people say that these two movies single-handedly saved cinema post-COVID. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think it's wrong. I mean, you know, even say one of the tentpole movies that actually did well, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, was it the third one? Yeah, it was the third one. Yeah, like that did fairly well, but I don't think as well as they had hoped. Indiana Jones sucked it. Flash/Batman 3 sucked it.
Flash sucked it hard.
Yeah.
Sucked it real hard.
And now it looks like Haunted Mansion is sucking it, you know? So
to be fair, the first Haunted Mansion sucked ass at the box office in like 2003. So I mean, really, I think it's on track to like be about the same. Like I don't know.
I'm in a haunted house, sure.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I saw the trailer for it while watching Barbie, and I'm like, oh, this looks cute. This looks like a cute movie. I think I'll go see it. And my daughter was into it to the point where now like I'm watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the new season, because that's what happens when you have kids. You don't keep on track of, you know, series that you love. But you know, I'm watching it, and Coraline's like, that's the guy from that Haunted Mansion trailer, Dan DeVito.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm like, that's the one you pick up. That's the only character. But
in fairness, Danny has a very unique look.
He does a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I would not have had it in my bingo card that Barbie would be as big as it is.
Well, see, I would have thought that this movie was going to do well, and I would have thought Oppenheimer was going to do well, but it's like serendipity that they came out the same weekend. And don't think for a second, dear audience, that this was some kind of brilliant strategy
by
the studio. They purposely picked these days because they thought, oh, there's no way these two movies are gonna like cause any riff. You know, it's
No.
like releasing a slasher the same week another studio releases a rom-com or something. You know, but I think because they were so different, that people just ironically latched onto it and went, yeah, Barbenheimer, let's see them both in the same day or same weekend. Or
Now,
you know,
when you went to the theater, John, was it jam-packed full of like Barbie people and clearly doom and gloom Oppenheimer people?
you know, the Oppenheimer audience was fairly quiet. I didn't get a sense about them one way or another, but yeah, there were the Barbie audience though were there for it. You know, they didn't just buy a ticket not knowing what Barbie was. They're all in pink, little kids, 30-some-year-olds like me who, you know, grew up playing with the dolls. Oh yeah, it was that was the event crowd. The Oppenheimer crowd was just kind of like somber and quiet, realizing the existential nightmare that was our own doom.
What's funny, and I'll bring this up again when we talk about Oppenheimer, but like when Lauren and I went to go see Oppenheimer, our audience was old.
Yeah,
They
that
were
makes sense.
old, like grandma old.
I mean, it is a movie about J. Robert Oppenheimer.
I get that.
Because the Christopher Nolan crowd that likes Tenet and Inception, they're not going to go see it because nobody's going to be ninja kicking each other on the roof, you know?
No, that's true. That's true.
Although that would have been awesome. Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy just having a karate fight.
That's how Strauss and Oppenheimer really settled their differences.
Yeah.
They had in
a turning
Mortal Kombat style fight with who the hell would it be? I don't know. It was Einstein coming up and says, "Finish him."
Einstein comes like,
"Get over here. Get over here." Yeah. But no, I mean, I went and saw this at the waterfront and it was crazy. The amount of just crowds and like, don't get me wrong. Like I knew that this was going to be big. I knew there was going to have a lot of people, but I didn't think it was going to be this deep. Like we went on a Sunday and it was insane. Like this is probably the first time since COVID, like pre-COVID, where it became an issue on finding a seat.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was the issue of, oh, can you find a seat on your app? And this is the first time that I was like, I don't know if we're going to find a seat where we really want to be. So like that really does kind of say to the depth of this Barbenheimer stuff. And then on top of that, the movie's actually good.
Yeah, both movies are pretty good. You know, I find that 2 to 5 o'clock window is the best time to see a movie that's going to be real popular. You know, you're not fighting with the matinee people, and you're not fighting with the evening
Buddy,
people.
that's exactly when I went.
Okay. Yeah.
I went to 2 o'clock on a Sunday, and it was crazy. You know, people who are dressed up in pink prom gowns. I'm not even kidding you. Pink prom gowns going to see Barbie, and they're going to see the same screen that I was. This is like a fucking Sunday afternoon. This isn't like Friday night. And then just people in like pink tights and pink socks and, you know, they're wearing Barbie shit left and right. And, you know, we took Coraline to it. So like we took my daughter to it and, you know, about 3/4 of the jokes completely went over her head. But like, you know, it was insane how many people were there. This was also completely unrelated. This was the first time that I saw people who were actually using the closed caption systems in those theaters. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time I'd seen this. So like it was just a very diverse audience of people and extremely well attended for a Sunday afternoon.
Well, Barbie's been around since the early 50s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, generations upon it's a generational event.
It truly is.
You know what this reminds me of?
What does this remind you of?
Batman 89. Just like
a little bit.
Yeah, people wearing all the merch and wearing the hats, the T-shirts, like dressing up like Joker, coming out to see the movie.
You know what? I already was looking for the "I'm Kenough" shirts.
I want one of those.
I want one of them. I want to feel like I'm Kenough. You know. But no, like you're right. This does feel a bit like a Batman 89. It really does. But I think these two movies probably did save cinema post COVID. You know?
And the
at least for the summer, right?
And the great thing is neither of them are Disney. Suck it, mouse.
Oh, well, to be fair, Barbie is Warner Brothers, and I have my issues with David Zaslav.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure he's using this as to offset how much he sucked balls at the Flash. But yeah, so this movie, you know, I saw the trailer for this and shit, must have been like right when Mario came out earlier this year. And I wasn't sure what to think about it. I was like, all right, well, looks cute. It looks like it's going to be like a, you know, something that my daughter would like. But, you know, watching this, I really got that this is a movie that has at least 50 to 100 layers underneath it. John, what were kind of your thoughts on it?
Yeah, this movie, I don't know how they pulled it off, to be honest.
Seriously.
Because it works for every audience.
Yeah.
And I feel like people like your daughter are going to probably watch this again like 12, 15 years later and go, oh man, so much of this movie went over my head. I just like seeing like the Barbie world, you know, because I was little. But yeah, so it works for every audience that's trying to hit. And, you know, there's an old saying that if you try to make a movie for everybody, you're making a movie for nobody.
Yeah.
But this one pulled it off somehow.
Well, I think part of that is because even though it does work and speak to everybody, this really is, and I say this knowing full well, and I also want to preface this, that John and I are men.
What?
We know that. We are fully aware of that. Our take on this is all analysis through our lens. Okay. But I really do believe that this movie was made with women in mind first. And the experience that women go through.
Shock. Gasp.
Shock. Gasp.
Quaff.
Quaff. You know, so even though I got something out of it, I know, John, you got something out of it, the fact of the matter is we are not the primary audience for this. We just aren't. The primary audience are, for the most part, women.
Which causes a bunch of white guys in their ball caps, sunglasses, and their gray beards to sit in their trucks and record videos to Facebook Live saying, "This is their time, man. Hey, they want the Barbie's a communist, and she wants you to cut off her remains penis. That's what this movie's about."
I must have missed that part of the movie where Barbie says, "Cut off all the peni." Even though,
well, they shouldn't have to. They don't
have them. Like, I'm just saying, none of the Kens have dicks, and Barbie makes that fully clear that she doesn't have a vagina and that Ken doesn't have a penis. Says it in the movie. So like cutting anything off, not going to happen. But I think the reason why this movie works as well is because it does have a clear audience that's trying to talk to, and it's not doing it, at least for me. I didn't find it was in a man-hating way at all. I didn't see that.
Well, people can't take it when the joke's about them, you know? Like, just say, let's just assume like WASPs, white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, straight men, you know, they'll laugh at a Jew joke, they'll laugh at a gay joke, they'll laugh at a woman joke, but then when the joke's about them, they go, this is propaganda.
It almost sounds a bit, John, like they're snowflakes.
Yeah. Rhino snowflakes.
Like, it sounds like they're a little sensitive about any sort of criticism, like snowflakes.
And I always, you know, say like, okay, you got to look at who the joke is at and understand the context of it.
Yeah.
And the point is that Ken is a fucking idiot.
Yes.
And he doesn't understand, you know, it's like if you did a presentation to second graders and you mentioned slaves and a little 7 or 8-year-old goes, man, I'd sure like to have slaves. That way I wouldn't have to do anything. It's like, the 7-year-old is missing the point.
Yes.
And Ken has the intellect of a 7-year-old. So he goes and he sees everything wrong with men and goes, cool. So it's not saying that every single man on the world is inherently stupid, selfish, evil, whatever. It's that Ken completely misses the point and goes, oh, patriarchy's awesome. And he brings everything terrible about men back to Barbie world.
Yeah.
You know, so guys, Greta Gerwig isn't saying that all of you need to be castrated and hung in town square. It's just a riff. It's a satire on toxic masculinity.
It is.
Relax.
Absolutely. Well, that's 100% what it is, and how it hurts everybody. And that's the thing, is the patriarchy in this hurts everyone. 100%.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that I wasn't triggered at the part in the movie when the guy's watching The Godfather, like when they're doing their strategy, and it's like, oh, why don't you just talk at me through the whole movie and tell me everything about it? I'm like, oh, that's me.
I saw those parts and I'm just like, man, I'm sorry. I think I looked at Lauren. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. Although I don't think I would ever talk through the movie because I hate people who do that. Like, unless it's like a joke movie, like if like John, when we've gotten together and we've had like movie
watch Neil Breen,
or watch Neil Breen, or just like any, like when we watch Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas and we're talking through the whole thing, it's like for jokes. That's a different experience. But I'm just saying, like, I would never talk through The Godfather ever. But I kind of got that part. I was like, oh, that's to me. That's to the film nerd. Oh, I'm sorry. But I mean, here's the thing. I see that Ken, even though he's a himbo, because that's literally what he is. He's an idiot. Okay. And some people I saw who were like critiquing this were saying something to the effect of like, oh, well, he got treated like shit. And it's like, wow, it kind of sucks when like you're treated like crap by a society based off of your gender, right? Like, that's not fun, is it?
Yeah.
It's not fun to have your opinions like not enjoyed and not validated, and you're just kind of a side piece. And I think that's, again, like, people aren't taking a step back to just say like, what is this really about? Why you know, this is ultimately like, it's a mirror. That's what this movie is. It is 100% a mirror of what our society currently does to women. 100%. And the one thing that I did like, and this was about the toxic masculinity thing, and is that, you know, men have been affected by toxic masculinity too.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll be the first to say, growing up, I was continually made fun of because I was not the guy's guy. I was picked on literally all through school, all through high school, because I was not that image.
Yeah. Hey, Cotton Kid.
No,
I can't express my own feelings and emotions about myself, so I'm going to lash out at you because you look more sincere in your ability to navigate your emotions.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I sympathize with Michael Cera's character because he totally was. That was pretty much, me. I was not the toxic masculinity guy. That was not me. It's never been who I am. I have no problem expressing my feelings, and I have no problem, being different. And so like that was what I got out of it. And it, like, you see it kind of affect the Kens right at the end of it, where they're all like, we really didn't like care for the patriarchy thing, but we didn't know what the fuck to do at this point.
Yeah. When I found out it wasn't even about horses, I didn't really care anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I find it hilarious that the people who are all up in arms over this fucking movie are literally the exact point of the movie.
Well, this reminds me of like an episode of South Park, like for all these men that are butthurt about it. Like, I remember the very early episodes of South Park where after the outrageousness for the satire of the South Park episode, then they get to the sincere part where they go, I learned something today. And that's what you're supposed to take away from the movie. In this movie, you're not supposed to take away that all the Kens are idiots and that, they are playing foosball and acting like jerk-offs. It's the speech that the mother,
America Ferrera,
gives about how it's impossible to be a woman. That's the I learned something today speech. That's what you're supposed to take away from it. Not that the movie thinks all men are jerks. It's that it's impossible to try to be a woman in this society or any, historical time.
Yeah. I mean, that speech, Jesus Christ. Like I can't think of another movie that, at least like I was in the audience with it. I can't think of another movie that had like, you could hear a pin drop during that speech. Everyone was quiet. And this is a movie that had like laughs throughout. Like, that's the thing. There's a lot of comedy in this film. You know, I was busting out laughing every 5 minutes. But that speech where America Ferrera literally outlines how difficult it is to be a woman in our current society. And this is, of course, a society that already has, you know, we're what? A year removed from literally attacking their right over bodily autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So, I mean, now again, people listening go like, well, you know, you're a dude. It's like, you're right. But I have a wife, I have a daughter, and I'm hearing this and going, that's their experience. That's what they're dealing with. And it hurts to hear that.
Well, have you heard the other bullshit controversy coming out of like Fox News and OAN and all of them about this movie?
I mean, I try to ignore bullshit whenever I can, but it's kind of difficult. But yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, they're saying that this movie is communist propaganda.
Where?
Because
I'd love to see it.
Okay, well, the Barbie map that is shown of the world, they're claiming that there are 9 dash marks off the edge of Asia, which are the islands in the South China Sea that China claims to own, which they don't. And they're saying that they put those dashes in there to appease China because that's who the movie really is for. However, there are 8 dashes, and it is supposed to be like foot marks to show how to get from Barbie world to the real world. So
that's some tinfoil level shit right there. Oh,
it's next level. Insane.
I mean, I figured that all of these assholes who claim that woke Hollywood is destroying cinema would just like hide in a turtle shell, along with Mitch McConnell, who's having a seizure or whatever the fuck going on.
Yeah.
And just like shut up while this movie makes a crap ton of money. But that's a whole other level to like, you know, claim that there's a conspiracy about the Barbie map and that, oh, it's really for China, it's for communism. And I didn't see any of that there. I mean, it's literally the company Mattel is a consumerist nightmare. So,
well, and here's where they completely, I hope purposely miss the point, or else they're just that stupid. They want to appease China because they're communists and socialists. It's like, well, no, let's pretend that your bullshit nonsense is true. They want to appease China so they can make a lot of money in China. That's not communism. No, that's capitalism.
That's capitalism to a T.
That's what you guys love, right? Making shit tons of money.
Unless it's going to Chinese company, because let's be honest here, they're also racist.
Yeah.
By the way, people who like don't like our reviews where we go into politics, this may not be your episode. Hey, I'm just pointing that out 22 minutes in. But
they're the ones that brought up the South China Sea.
They're the ones who brought up the South China. I'm looking at the people who are going to give us a 1-star review on Apple Podcasts and say, these libtards just won't shut up about my butthurt feelings about the Barbie movie. You know?
Well, but the thing, what they're also missing is that they kind of figure out that the Barbie world is kind of a Logan's Run situation. It's a false utopia. Yes. So even if the men didn't go crazy, they realize that like, oh, this isn't exactly perfect. And by the end, they go to start to slowly build it to be more, you know, inclusive for everyone.
See, I kind of like that. And especially like there's a line that President Barbie has at the end where she's like, you know, she's talking to the couple Kens and they're like, oh, we want to be on the Supreme Court. And they're like, well, maybe not yet. We'll give you like a lower court thing. And I liked it because I think that if they were immediately just like, everyone's even, everyone's equal now, I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, especially since all the Kens are blithering idiots.
They're blithering idiots, but then again, like, and this even goes to the whole point that, you know, we have a Ken doll, and we have two Kens in my house. They're never played with unless I'm the one playing with them. I have to be, as the dad to a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old daughter is playing with Barbies. She's never playing with the Ken. The Ken is a side character.
Well, that's apparently why Ryan Gosling took the role.
It's an accessory.
they reached out to him to like, hey, do you want to play Ken in the Barbie movie? He's like, I'm not sure. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And he went outside to like where his daughters were playing, and like they were playing with Barbies or whatever. I don't know if this is a true story or not.
Yeah.
But he said like, hey, where's the Ken doll? And they showed, and it was face down in a puddle. And he went, oh yeah, I got to play this guy.
But that's the thing is I'm sorry, no one's playing with Ken. Ken is just there. He really is. Like and the funny thing is like, I don't think people get like the reason why the Barbie world is the way is because it's based off of who's playing with them. It's mentioned in there that, you know, the things happening to stereotypical Barbie is because of someone in the real world. And if majority of the real world are playing with the Barbie dolls and not the Kens, or they're playing with the Kens the way that they currently are, where they're just, you know, blithering idiots who just stand there and wait for Barbie, then of course that's going to happen in Barbie Land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I would say if there was anything that I didn't overly care for in this movie, it was Will Ferrell's improving and most of the executive team.
I could take it or leave him, honestly.
And I didn't like that. Like, it was clearly Mattel had proofread the script about 80 times just to make sure that there weren't any jokes that were too against them.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that Mattel was okay with all of this is a surprising thing to me. Like, I totally was expecting this to be the same thing that I see on Netflix when I watch like the Barbie Dreamhouse stuff that plays, because that's what my daughter plays. And it's just vapid entertainment regurgitation. That's what I thought it was going to be. But instead, it's this very deep thing, which I'm like, how in the hell did Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig and all the producers and people involved in this, how are they able to convince a major corporation like Mattel to say, hey, let us take your iconic characters and wrap them up in a social satire?
It's because they want to start the Mattel cinematic universe.
Oh, well,
Play-Doh, the movie.
Well, I saw someone on Facebook mention this too, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that Uno, the movie, isn't going to work. Unless you make it like Saw combined with Uno. You know what I mean? Like you play Uno, and if you, because I mentioned this to you like in passing, but like the game of the summer in my house has been Uno. So like we're literally playing like all the versions of Uno. Today was Uno Flip, but there's like 50,000 versions of Uno. So imagine if you had a Saw type movie where the person is going through and doing different types of Uno games, but they all lead to like death. Do you want to play a game? It's Uno Flex, where the flex is your skin off your bones.
Brought to you by Mattel.
Brought to you by Mattel. Buy our junk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think a Mattel CU is going to work. Just maybe stick to Barbie. Thoughts?
You know, speaking of like Mattel and their universe, like I do have a problem with this movie in abstraction. That just the same reason I had a problem with the Lego movie. Mm-hmm. That it's like it's a movie based on a product.
Oh, okay.
It's like Snapple, the movie, you know. And then there's ones that are a little bit more subtle about it, like Air that came out with like Matt Damon.
I liked Air.
But I mean, that was a commercial for how much Nike kicks ass. You know.
Well, I think it was more. That was more of a commercial for, because I had no idea what it took to get the Air Jordan like made, and I had no idea what it took to you know that Nike at one time was not a major dominating shoe company. So like that was more of a biopic than anything. You know?
Yeah.
But I think Barbie Lego movie, they make more sense to me because they're iconic. And I think that's the thing is these are iconic products. And they're not just products, they're characters, right? Like the Lego movie, it transcends all of pop culture because of all the different sets. That's how it works. Barbie, same thing. It's ingrained in our pop culture. Pretty sure Uno isn't.
But see, but there's no media that went with it. Like if Barbie had started as like a cartoon, even a cartoon just to sell the new Barbie
it has
products.
so many though.
Right.
You have no idea. There's so many. So many things, man.
I got a lot of but.
Okay, what's your but?
Is that it started as a doll and then it became popular enough to make a cartoon series, like something like Ninja Turtles, which is nothing more than a product. It's just a way to sell plastic toys. Yeah. It's started as a comic book, and then even though they started the cartoon series just to advertise the next toy, every episode had a new toy that was going to hit the shelves after the episode came out. Like it was a form of visual entertainment. So when they made a movie of it, at least it wasn't just the action figure that they went movie. I don't know. Yeah,
no, I get you there. I mean, I think I didn't care so much about the fact that this was based off of a product. Now, one thing that I did not like as much in this was the very rushed, I felt, relationship, one of America Ferrera and her daughter in this, and then how it's all like resolved. Did you get that?
Yeah,
it's really fast and inconsistent. I'm just like, okay, your daughter hates her guts, but now we're cool.
They probably had a lot of studio notes, like people didn't come to watch a mother-daughter like existential crisis. They came to watch Barbie. The boys came to stare at Margot Robbie, and the women came to watch her perform.
I guess so, but like I just the first half of this movie is literally I have to find this person, and I gotta fix their relationship, and then we go to Barbie World, and it's just like, no, we're done. Everything's fine now.
Yeah, it was, in the vein of Ryan George and his YouTube channel pitch meetings. It was super easy, barely an inconvenience, for them to just completely repair their relationship. But I mean, at the same time, I don't know if I needed Ordinary People, the Mary Tyler Moore, Donald Sutherland movie between the mother and the daughter. I think we needed to kind of like get to the end.
No, I get that. But at the same time, like, I think it's one of those things that if you set up that paradigm for the first 2/3 of the movie, somewhere along the way, we should see that, like, I don't know, repaired with as much thought and energy as you took to set it up. And this is something that I've seen in a lot of movies that try to do this sort of side plot bullshit. Like, I saw it in The Flash and with the whole thing between Iris and Barry and like how that relationship kind of works.
I forgot that was in that movie.
Yeah, you forgot she was in the movie.
Yeah, so that the Flash can have a case of the nut gaze.
Which, again, like, that doesn't really work, but okay.
Who cares? Yeah.
Who cares?
I don't really care where Flash is sticking it at all.
Shit. I don't give a shit. But I felt that part was weak. And I know that it was because they were like, all right, well, the patriarchy's been brought to Barbie Land, so we have to focus on fixing that. Which, speaking of which, what were your thoughts on Kate McKinnon as Crazy Barbie?
I loved her. When I didn't know she was in the movie, but I went in and I saw the opening credits and that she was in there. I'm like, even though she is a beautiful lady, like she, for comic effect, she always plays like really goofy, freaking looking people. And I'm like, I don't know how it's going to work in this universe, but she's going to look weird, and they did not disappoint.
Truth be told, that was the first time that I had seen Kate McKinnon in anything since Ghostbusters.
She reminded me of like the Oracle in the Matrix.
Well, I think I love the fact that like she was totally eating up every scene that she was in. Like, she's weird Barbie, and she's like, how'd you get to be weird? Well, you just play with them too much. And like, again, a lot of this episode is me talking about like what I've seen with my daughter who is obsessed with Barbies. And let me tell you something. She's got at least 50 weird Barbies in her toy closet. Like, played hard, markered up, just hair cut off, just all sorts of weird shit. And then I love the fact that weird Barbie constantly like has to like spread her leg and put it up against the wall, because clearly every one of those weird Barbies is always bent into these weird ways every single time. It was just, And then even when she's like above Margot Robbie and like waking her up and you get that flash of weird Barbie on her face, she ate up every scene. She was great in this.
Now, Brian, how many Barbies did you have to buy for Coraline as compared to how many were like hand-me-downs from Lauren?
Lauren didn't have any Barbies hand me down.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. It's been a buy session of Barbies and gifts of Barbies to the point where we have so much Barbie shit. It's just it's like a cancer. It takes over the house.
Because it's weird. My sister had Barbies, but I think they're all gone. I don't know if she sold them at a garage sale or what, because like I like a hoarder I still have like all my action figures.
Oh, my action figures are somewhere in my mom's basement. They're like Batman figures and Turtles and like the Wayne Manor.
It was interesting for me as a kid too. You had brothers, but I had an older sister.
Yeah.
And my parents like were never weird about playtime.
Yeah.
So like my sister and I would play together with G.I. Joes, but then we would also play with Barbies. And I didn't see it as that's a girl's toy. I saw it as it's a toy. It's a doll, And so we would just, make up stories, whether it was G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, or Barbie. And I remember one Christmas, my sister got a pink Barbie convertible and I got a gray Ken convertible. And we were just like, let's go fucking play, But yeah, I don't know what happened to all of those Barbies. She must have sold them.
I know.
For like Goosebump books or something.
Yeah. No. Lawrence told me that she's cut her Barbies. Like she played with Barbies as a kid, obviously, but she said like she cut all the hair and things like that. So she turned them into weird Barbies.
Weird Barbie.
And then my mom, she had the originals. And according to her, her mother sold them or gave them away to her housekeeper. Now these are original Barbies, and my mom would tell you that she basically like made these Barbies like pristine. There were no weird Barbies in her collection, but these are originals like from the 50s that are worth like thousands of dollars that she had that her mother just gave away because at the time no one thought these things were going to be worth anything.
Well, you got to wonder how much out of the box they're worth because
they're still, I was for shits and giggles. I looked up on eBay. They're still worth thousands of dollars even out of the box.
Wow. Because I've gone to like, toy conventions and stuff because I'm a giant man baby.
Yeah.
And like
we're both giant man babies. It's okay.
But Super Mario Brothers 3, just the cartridge, you can buy that for like $15. But if it's mint condition in the box, you're looking at like $1,200.
Wow. And it's like, you're not going to play that.
Yeah, if the box is dented, then you're still looking at about like $300 for the dented box with the game inside. So
that's just crazy. Yeah. It's just nuts. So talk a little bit about this movie.
Long story short, Barbie lives in a fake paradise. But then she starts having ennui and starts thinking about death. And she starts getting cellulite. I was like,
and flat feet.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be flawless. And the Oracle, i.e. Weird Barbie, says like, oh, well, somebody must be like converging their feelings onto you while playing. You need to go find them in the real world. And so Barbie does. But of course, Ken, like a fucking dick face, just tags along without her knowledge.
You really hate Ken in this, don't you?
No, the thing is, like, I hate to say it, in a movie called Barbie, Gosling fucking steals the show.
Oh, he absolutely does. And along with Weird Barbie, every scene that he is in, he glows. Like I had the "I'm Just Ken" song stuck in my head all last week.
I wonder if this movie is going to get nominated for Best Original Song.
If he doesn't win Best Supporting Actor, I would be surprised. And he probably wins Best Song with "I'm Just Ken."
But yeah, essentially Barbie, does get to the real world where she realizes that everything's not the utopia that she assumed, that like women are running everything and they're all like super geniuses and, in charge of every company and studio and every office and the judicial and legislative branch. Like, it's like, oh, like apparently the things are more complex than that. That's where she meets the mother and daughter who have a very tense relationship. And because she gets to Mattel and things happen that she can understand that Barbie's real, she has to help like Barbie fix everything. The mother and daughter have to help Barbie fix everything. And by the time she gets back, Ken has read books about horses and being a
Patriarchy.
dickhead. Yeah, patriarchy, and ruined everything. And for all those guys out there who are saying like, "Oh, this movie is like subtle propaganda for being man-hating," like propaganda doesn't lay out exactly what they're doing if it's propaganda. Like
No.
the whole point is that he's saying exactly what he's doing because he doesn't realize there's anything wrong with it. He goes, "Yeah, we found out about the patriarchy and we brought it here." You wouldn't call it the patriarchy if you were trying to subliminally brainwash the audience.
I was going to say the guys that I've met in my life who clearly are examples of toxic masculinity and patriarchy. No, I don't think they have that word in their vocabulary other than bro. Like they're not going to say the word patriarchy ever.
Well, I mean, so much of that is just being triggered too. With like you would say, like, "Oh, toxic masculinity," and the guy goes, "You think masculinity is toxic?" It's like, no, we said toxic masculinity. Not all masculinity is toxic, but there is versions of it that can be toxic.
Yeah,
shucks.
It's
when you know it.
It's 2 words, buddy.
Yeah,
it's not. It's a noun. It's not an adjective. But
I think this movie should just to appease like all these like jerk off guys should have just put hashtag not all men at the bottom of the screen the whole movie.
I mean, the funny thing is, do you have to do that? Is that what? But that wouldn't be enough. That wouldn't be enough. That's what I'm telling you, man. It's like, unfortunately, the people who are going all nutsoid over this movie, they're not going to get it. They just aren't. They're not going to get it. So even if you put how many overlays over there saying hashtag not talking about every man, hashtag not trying to chop off your ding dong, they're going to still say, "Did you see that? They said they're going to chop off my ding dong." It's like, fucking dick. So I mean, I'd say I don't get it, but at the same time, like I met people who are like this and they can't take any sort of jab or criticism.
No.
And it's just, it requires, I think, to understand this movie, something called empathy. Like being able to take yourself, put yourself in someone else's shoes. Maybe
Wait,
not
care
your
about
gender.
someone else?
Maybe not your gender, and say, kind of sucks for them, huh? Like that would be really shitty if I was treated that way. Maybe I shouldn't treat people that way.
But Brian, I'm white and straight and I don't have any major health issues. Why should I care about anyone else?
Because that's called the human experience. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's the human experience, trying to empathize with other people. So
I find it's better
grow.
just going through life with no feelings,
Well, I mean, even the Kens didn't realize that at the end.
Yeah.
Like that's the best part, is the Kens realize that they don't need Barbies, that they can exist with them,
that they're
right?
Ken enough.
That they're Ken enough. And I love that scene. I think that's why that whole thing is stuck. One, because it's hilarious, but then also because, how many times have, we've been feeling like you need somebody else for validation.
Yeah.
And I think that's what that whole Ken enough thing means, is that you don't need someone else or something to validate your own worth. That you are enough.
Now, what did you make of and I'm assuming if people have gotten this far, they've already seen the movie, but
or they've skipped away and just been
yeah.
like, I'll come back when you guys talk about bad movies again.
Yeah.
Which that's cool. That's cool. We'll see you later.
What do you make of the fact that Barbie can just enter the real world, and that when she does, she gets genitals?
You mean towards the end?
Yeah, well, I mean, like the very, very end, when they're like, "What do you want, Barbie?" And she's like, "I want to be a real person." And she has to go to the gynecologist because now she has a vagina for the first time.
I mean, I think for a movie that is absurd, it's kind of like, okay, I get it. I bought into it. I mean, come on, John. Like, The head of Mattel is Will Ferrell, who's telling Barbie to get back in a box. A grown, anthropomorphic, talking, human version of Barbie that's out in the real world. Get back in this gigantor box.
This movie's universe is weird.
So, like, this is not existing in a universe that has, I don't know, rules. There literally is a ghost of Ruth Handler who lives on the 17th floor of the Mattel building, played by Rhea Perlman in this. I'm totally like, if you're saying, is that a stretch too far? No, I don't think it is, considering everything in this movie. I just think it is like, well, that's the next evolution. And I think that's the existential crisis. Do you stay as an icon that exists as a figment of fantasy, or do you not and try to make an effort in the real world?
Yeah, but now she's going to get old and die, and she's going to have depression and anxiety.
Well, she already had depression and anxiety and sadness. That was the whole deal, was that she was experiencing those emotions for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's, how do you deal with those? So, I mean, I look at it as, if we're talking about the story arc, that's the only thing you could do. You can't go back to Barbie world. She can't, at least.
Yeah.
It's that whole idea of that you've left home. What do you do next? This is the next part of the journey. So it'll be interesting to see what a sequel does, if this movie gets one. I have a feeling it will.
Well, yeah, money, poop.
Money. I also doubt that movie will be nearly as deep as this one is. I can see that being very much hey, there's some sort of calamity happening at Barbie world. Let's go talk to stereotypical Barbie, who's 5 years in living in the real world. She probably can help us out.
And she'll
waka waka.
She'll be like, Thomas Wolfe told me you can't go home again.
Yeah.
But no, I want the sequel to be like Barbie in like her 70s. Just like, why did I do this? Chain smoking. This old on a respirator, But
what happened? Well, I ate food for the first time and I was just like, done. The food is awesome.
Yeah. I ate cake 9
now
meals
I have
a
this
day.
thing called diabetes and I don't know what to do. I've lost a foot. I don't know why she was in it. Like, I don't know why Ruth Handler had to be in the movie, other than just to be like the ghost of Ruth Handler.
I think it's because the movie does, speaking of cake, have its cake and wanted to have its cake and eat it too. In a sense of like, Barbie's inspirational and aspirational, but also Barbie gives women eating disorders and makes it forces them to believe that if they're not astronaut presidents, they're nothing. So it's kind of going both ways. So I think that like she has to kind of come in and be like, yeah, maybe Barbie told you you had to be a lot, but it's still a fucking doll, so chill out. Like kind of just bringing both worlds together, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I did like the fact that they didn't shy away from pointing that part out. The part about the fact that it, as of recently, it has become a thing where people do look to Barbie and go like, that causes unrealistic expectations of body image. And it's to the point where now, like, and I'd say this again, as someone who actively has to buy Barbies for my daughter, that they have corrected that. You have Barbies of all shapes and sizes now.
And the movie represents that too.
Yes. Yeah. Now, what were your thoughts on the comedy in this? As a comedy man, if you will, and someone who knows what's funny and what's not. What were your takes on the comedy in this?
Like I said, I think almost everything hit, except I did, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, I did not care for Will Ferrell and the executives. Mostly just everything that happened at the Mattel offices.
Yeah.
Because I think I could be wrong. It could have been script to screen, but I think they allowed Will Ferrell a lot of room to go. You're Will Ferrell. Go ahead and riff. Like just make your own jokes. Because a lot of the stuff, it seemed like he was just kind of making it up as he went along, and I'm like, everything else is so well like plotted. Like the jokes have very good setups and payoffs, where Will just comes in and just seems so goofy and kind of out of place that that's the only time that the humor didn't really work for me. Like, I know that they want to portray the head of Mattel to be an idiot, but when he's like, "Oh no, my key card isn't working. How are we going to chase Barbie?" It's like, I get the joke, but he's also a grown ass man. He knows he can climb over something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's funny, but also it's not logical. So, and I'm saying this about a movie where a plastic doll lives in a fantasy world and has to come to, the real world. But
yeah. I mean, I overall liked the humor in this. I thought the scenes where Barbie is like the moment when she has her off day, and you have the theme song that's sung by Lizzo, like remarking on what the hell's going on to her, and she's like, "Oh God, it's cold," and like the because clearly like every day is the exact same thing, right? You got the Lizzo song saying, "Hey, Barbie," and they're waking up, and it all kind of going all to shit. And the scene where Barbie's feet go flat, and she shows them, and everyone freaks out and like vomits, fake vomits. I was cracking up. Like there literally wasn't a moment in this I thought was not funny and didn't target my humor. The Mattel stuff, I totally get why you were like, this is kind of stupid, especially when they're chasing her. And they're like running like they're in the Matrix.
Yeah,
with their arms up.
And the whole like lower part of Mattel looks like it's out of a Terry Gilliam movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's again why I say like I'm surprised Mattel was cool with all this.
I think it's just good press. Like, haha, look at what a good sense of humor we have of ourselves. Go buy toys, buy all the toys. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Aren't we fun? Aren't we cool? Go buy toys. Go buy Play-Doh right now.
Yeah. Go buy the Barbie version of the Barbie movie toy.
I won't be surprised if we see that early next year, assuming the strike ever ends, that like we'll see He-Man in production now, brought to you by Mattel Cinematic Universe.
I think Netflix was already doing that, and then they dumped the project. I think I read about that Netflix was developing. That's honestly part of the strike issues, is that Netflix spent a crap ton of money developing Masters of the Universe and, decided, you know what, not worth it. Let's dump it. And, they're saying they're claiming poverty can't pay stars and writers.
Yeah.
So but, I mean, now the Barbie movie blew up. That's now back on the table, I guess.
Brian, I don't think a Mattel Cinematic Universe is going to work. And for one very obvious reason, let's look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The most successful and maybe only successful cinematic universe is that superheroes, while they can be different to a degree, are all the same in the end. They're all super strong people in costumes that punch bad guys in the face.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between Barbie, Play-Doh, Uno, He-Man. Like, I don't think that the audience that loved Barbie are necessarily the Masters of the Universe audience, or the Play-Doh audience, assuming that somehow you can make a movie about clay.
How the hell can you do a Play-Doh movie?
It's going to be Toy Story. Like some little kid's going to make like little figures out of Play-Doh, and then they're going to come alive, and I have to wonder, like, one of the Play-Doh things is going to think he's actually like a real person, and then the other one's going to be like a little cowboy. He's going to be like, no, you're a child's Play-Doh toy thing. I'll be like, hey, this looks familiar.
I mean, I guess you could make it like Sausage Party.
Yeah, there you go.
Like they exist in the real world, and you've got dried out Play-Doh been sitting around. You've got mushed together Play-Doh that's like basically like tie dye, but also like start to turn like bluish green. I hope to God they don't do that.
Oh, I can see it now. There could be a very flirtatious female Play-Doh, and they could call her Play-Ho.
Oh, that's gross. So gross. But like you'd have to somehow incorporate all of the different like Play-Doh contraptions into it. How would you do that? Play-Doh Land?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's beat by beat Barbie again, but with Play-Doh.
Just don't. I mean, here's why I think that trying to do this is the wrong thing to do. So if Mattel, you're listening, I doubt you're going to listen. You're going to do any of this, but cinematic universes aren't really doing too hot nowadays.
Yeah,
Like,
even Marvel is.
They just aren't. Look at DC. Okay, look at Marvel. They really have peaked at Avengers Endgame and really haven't given us anything to that level since then. Okay. So trying to make a cinematic universe is just probably not the best use of your time. So don't do it. Stick to what works. Stick to Barbie. Barbie's fine. Make another sequel to Barbie. Okay, cool. Will it be Barbie as good? I doubt it. But stick to this. This works fine. We don't need Uno, the movie. We don't need Polly Pocket, the movie. We don't need Masters of the Universe. Why? Because we already had one.
Oh, you know what I think they're going to make? Monster High. Welcome to Scaris, the city of frights. Boo la la.
You've seen Monster High, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've watched Monster High. There's a bunch now. There's Rainbow High, Monster High is another one. Yeah, they're all over the place. Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, might be a good one though, personally. That's the one my daughter loves right now. She's between Barbie and Gabby's Dollhouse. So, man, final thoughts on Barbie, Johnny.
I think it's a very entertaining movie that is also simultaneously has a lot to say. And for all of you out there that had your little feelings hurt, maybe watch it again with a little bit more of an open mind and ask yourself, what is the satire? What is the point that it's trying to make? And that maybe you'll realize that there's a bigger world than just your Republican snowflake feelings out there.
Very nicely put. Very nicely put. My thoughts are, I went in expecting to not really enjoy this movie. I came out not only enjoying this movie a shit ton, but really a movie that really did make me think. And that's, I think, if anything, what the filmmakers behind this wanted. They wanted you to laugh. They wanted you to cry. They wanted you to enjoy it. And they wanted you to think. And this movie offers that up. And if you're unwilling to not look at yourself, if you're unwilling to look at yourself in this when you watch this movie, then you really are missing the whole fucking point. This movie is designed for you to look at yourself and look at how you treat others, especially how you treat women. And for women, it's designed to kind of show that our society is really horrible.
And you're not alone. Yeah.
And you're not alone. And that's the point I got out of this. And that honestly, the patriarchy and toxic masculinity, it hurts everybody. That's the big thing I got out of this, is that it is detrimental to the emotional and mental health of everyone.
Yeah.
That's it. Great movie. I can't wait for it to come to HBO Max or that's what I'm calling it, HBO Max still. I'm not just going to call it Max because Zaslav wants me to.
The Max.
Whatever. That app is now terrible since it's been filled with all of the HGTV crap.
Well, I had to, I know we're wrapping it up, but I had to log out. They're like, you're logged into HBO Max. Log out.
We're
logging you out
first
so
time.
you could log into the Max. I'm like, okay, dudes. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Good talk, John. So, John, where can they find you at on the internet?
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the classics, the hat trick, if you will. And you can find me over at JDeb's Video Nasties on YouTube. I have been editing a dog food commercial, which I'm wrapping up tonight. So
a dog food commercial.
Yeah, starring Christine's her parents' golden retriever.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll be wrapping that up. I might even just throw it on Facebook for shits and gigs, see if anybody wants to look at it. But it's kind of a contracted thing. So
you can't throw it on Facebook. People just looking at that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, so that's what I got. So now I'm actually being able to focus on the YouTube channel again, because that's been kind of on delay.
That's cool. You know, that life happens. You can find me at Brian Connington on the Twitter, or I guess what they're calling it now, X, because Elon, I guess, is bored. And you can also follow us on at Psycho Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are also on the Tiki Talks at Cinema Psycho Show. We're almost at 500 followers on our TikToks, which is awesome, especially because we really do the very bare minimum in posting. But I'm glad that people like him. You can also find us, on the Discord channel. We've got a Discord channel. You can message us. And if you're one of those people who hated Barbie and you want to call us out and, be toxic masculine douchebags to us, you can do it, in our Discord channel.
You bros are betas, bro.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, fuck. I don't care. Go fuck yourself. Or you can drop us an email on our website, cinemapsychoshow.com. We will also, because this episode is coming out this week, as we're recording it, we will also be in person at Grossfest this weekend. So this Saturday, the 5th, we will be at Grossfest in Pittsburgh. So come hang out with us. We may have candy. John, will we have candy?
Yeah, we'll have candy.
We'll have candy. And stickers. And
in our van. Oh, no, at the table. Yeah.
Yeah, in our van at the table. Yeah, come hang out with us at Grossfest. We'll leave a link to the event. It's Saturday, August 5th in Pittsburgh. Great little, it's not really little, it's a independent horror film festival that has a bunch of vendors, a bunch of indie films playing, a bunch of celebrities. Not us, we're not considered celebrities, but a lot of celebrities will be there. And
my mom says I'm a celebrity.
Well, there you go. You're a celebrity in your own heart. But yeah, we will be there representing the podcast. So come hang out with us, talk to us, pick up a sticker, pick up some candy, and we'll be there in person. So pretty neat stuff. Aside from that, be sure to follow us wherever you get your audio, and we will see you next time.
Be on the lookout for Enchantimals coming to theaters everywhere, rated NC-17.